Day 29 was, so to speak, very eventful in a good and not so good sense. It was my longest day so far. I did 23 miles and I knew it was wrong. The shelter was at 19 miles, and Psych and I decided to push to a tent site or just a stealth tent 4 miles down the road, and decided to do like some night hiking, and that put me at 23 miles. And earlier in a day, my foot started hurting a little bit. My left foot, like where the foot goes up and down the joint. So it's not like where the shin splint would be much higher in the leg. It's lower where the foot meets the leg. And initially, for some reason, the way I had my mirrors tied, like my mirrors untied today twice, and I did tie my shoe back like very tight, and I think my foot was getting swollen from the hiking. So it was kind of multiple things that happened. Walking with that shoe being too tight created, I think, some sort of unwanted friction. I also have some spot on a leg there, so I think I hit it with something, because there's constantly something on a trail that you kind of bump into or hit, or a root or a rock or a branch or something like that. So as I was pushing to my 23, I'm like still so high on accepting the trail, and it's so wonderful, and I'm not resisting it, and I can go far, and I can go. And I lost the very sense of sensibility, like, yeah, girl, but you still have to slow down and check in. And I knew that at 19 miles I had to stop, and even 19 was really good, because I was gradually working up, so let's say it's months in, and working up from 10 to 15, then 15 to 20 was very, very sensible. So I didn't hurt myself in the first week or two, but I did after my 4 full weeks. And I think I need to take it slower, but at the same time, I want to get to Damascus, so it's kind of like, what can I do? And especially when I say eventful, there was another snake that I saw, so this puts me at two snakes so far. Both of them were the good snakes, so I haven't seen any poisonous ones. But the last hour of hiking was getting in a night hiking and hiking in the dark, and pushing to get to that campsite. And by my calculations, I thought that Psyched would be there before me. And I'm going there, and I get there, and he's not there. And I'm like, don't see any camp spots. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit by this tree. I'm really, really hungry. I need to eat. And I make my mashed potatoes. My gourmet mashed potatoes was my tuna sides. And sitting by the tree thinking, like, okay, so what I gonna do? What I gonna do? I gonna eat, and then I gonna figure it out. Even if I need to just like sit by the tree in my sleeping bag and sleep, I can do that. I just didn't see any spots where to pitch the tent at that point. It was very close by the road. It was Hughes Gap, I think. And then suddenly I hear whistling, and I know that Sykes whistles when he walks. And then the next thing, something is like running like crazy, and before I realize it's a dog. So and I'm in a bear country, in a bear sanctuary. Like, who's running? Turns out that there's this hunting dog, a bear hunting dog, loose from home, just wandering on a trail. Started following Psyched. We called the owner, and he's like, no, he's gonna come home. But then I'm trying to eat my dinner, and the dog is jumping all over me because I have food, and he's jumping on a foot that hurts. And like, then we call again, could you please come and pick up the dog, because we can't pitch the tent, we can't eat. It's just like the dog is like, he was puppyish, kind of young dog. And then the guy comes and picks up the dog, and he's like, well, you know that you are in a bear country, and this is a bear dog, and you have a gun, right? I'm like, no. You have a bear spray? No. Well, be very careful out there. There's a bear. Like it's a big one. We always see like 400-500 pound bear, but we don't have a problem with it usually. Just hang up your food, and I'm like there, shaking, shivering. It's pitch black, and now we suddenly are in a country where we need to care for bear more than we have before. So, but it was all good. The bear didn't come, and but again, it put a different layer of what I am now comfortable with on a trail. It's just a new development.